Hi friends, welcome back to the Utterly Awesome Acres Kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you how we make sauerkraut. It's a raw sauerkraut, naturally fermented with just sea salt and cabbage. 2 ingredients, very simple. I'm going to show you how. We're going to start by just pulling off the outer layers of cabbage, and we're going to save these leaves. The chickens are not getting those. I like to just pull off about 3 leaves and set them to the side. And then we're just going to start chopping our cabbage. You want to cut out the core. It's pretty stiff in the center. And of course, give that to the chickens. They like everything we don't like. Core's out to the chicken bucket. We're going to put the chopped into our large mixing bowl. Some people like to use a food processor, but I enjoy chopping vegetables with a knife. I enjoy being in my kitchen, but I do enjoy chopping vegetables. This is going to be something that we eat a tiny bit of every day as a natural probiotic, as opposed to buying a probiotic from the store. Kind of like when you eat yogurt. You get the natural probiotics from the vegetables, and the salt does not allow the bad bacteria to grow, only the good bacteria. Okay. One more hunk of cabbage. Sleeve chopped here. Next step. So for just a little bit of fun color, I decided to add a couple of carrots into our mix this time. I don't always do this. Usually it's just the cabbage, and it's delicious and tangy, sour, still crunchy. But I figured it's October now. Let's add some fun color to this. Who doesn't like pretty food, especially pretty probiotic food? And I'm just using my apple peeler or carrot peeler and getting some nice ribbons of this carrot. And I'll just do a light chop through the pile. And again, everything we don't eat, the chickens love. side for the chickens. Give this a quick chop. Okay, I think that looks great. I'm not really looking for a dice, just so the pieces aren't huge. You can definitely use a bench scraper to clean your cutting board, but I'm kind of lazy and don't like to wash dishes. So next up. Okay, friends, so here in my largest stainless steel mixing bowl, I have 2 heads of chopped cabbage and 2 shredded carrots, I would say. And we're going to add 3 tablespoons of mineral sea salt. Definitely use a good quality salt, pink Himalayan salt, sea salt, and then just start going to town and mixing that up. A cook's best tools are clean hands. Once the salt hits the cabbage, especially the cabbage, not as much the carrots, but definitely the cabbage, it's going to start to pull the moisture from the cabbage. Got a dirty leaf there. And it's going to make its own brine once you start shoving this into your mason jars. As you can see, look at this moisture already coming out. So we're just going to keep working this salt all through this bowl. And that's looking great. All right, and I'm going to grab my jars so we can jar it up. Okay, so I have here 2 half-gallon mason jars or 2 quart jars and my canning funnel. I like to use the canning funnel because it helps me make less of a mess, but I'm probably still going to make a pretty big mess. So I'm going to start shoving it right into your mason jars. Oh, and I did forget to say I grabbed my rolling pin. As you're placing it in your jars, because these jars are so deep, I like to just really cram it down in there, and that's also going to help the brine collect. Isn't this so pretty in the jars? Looks like coleslaw. Go ahead and pack it some more. I mean, look how much room that gives you in the jar. And this is another fun process for kids to do. Load these jars up for you. Pack them down nice and tight. But we are seasonably warm for October here in northern Michigan, and my children are outside enjoying what's probably going to be one of the last beautiful warm days outside. So I figured while the house was quiet, it'd be a good time to show you a kitchen project. All right, and that looks good. We're going to move on to the next jar. And there's a lot of liquid in the bottom of my mixing bowl, so I'm going to make sure at the end I dump whatever liquid I have into the jars also. Okay, do some pack in here. packing this down. Now I'm going to show you the next step. All right, so after I mentioned how much I don't like to wash dishes, I started really packing this in, and I realized that I could probably condense it to a 1/2 gallon and a quart. And I feel like that's going to give me much better space in my jar. We are just really trying to pack that down so that all the cabbage and carrots is under the liquid. And I have not added any liquid to these jars. This is all self-made from the cabbage. Let me see if I can show you. I don't know if you can see all this liquid in there. But this is the brine just from adding the salt to the cabbage and carrots. Okay, so we're almost finished. So I have all the outer leaves of the cabbage here that I pulled off. And now this is when these are going to come in handy. We're just going to fold them up and stick them on the top to hold all of the good sauerkraut down into the brine. Pack those babies in there. Alright, and my liquid is rising pretty close to the top of the jar, which is very good. Okay. So here's what we have. Our 2 jars loaded with cabbage and carrots. Our leaves at the top holding everything down into the brine. And this one has a lot of brine already, which is great. So now we're just going to place our jars into a baking dish because these need to sit on the counter for at least 3 days. If you go up to 7 days, I think like 5 days is the sweet spot. It also depends on how warm your kitchen is and if you have any other ferments going in your kitchen. So cabbage leaves on top, we're just going to place a lid. We're not tightening it down because the gases in the jar can blow your jar. So we're just setting that there. If the gases need to come out the top, they can easily come out the top. We're pretty much just keeping bugs and dust out of the jars while they hang out on the counter. Okay, so I moved our new jars of sauerkraut over to the fridge mixer area. It's also next to the stove, so it's a pretty warm spot. So maybe it'll only make it 3 days before I stick it in the fridge. After a couple days, you'll notice the color of the cabbage will go from green to yellow, yellowish white. And that just means that it's fermenting. The bacteria are working, and it's a wonderful thing. And this is the jar of sauerkraut that I made last week. As you can see, it's running pretty low. But I just wanted to show you. And I'll just scoop it out, eat a forkful at a time. There are more probiotics on a forkful of raw sauerkraut than you could take in probably 5 to 6 probiotic pills. So this is definitely a wonderful way to get your probiotics in without having to go to the grocery store and buy them. Thanks for stopping by the kitchen. See you next time.